Good morning, students. This class is a continuation of the previous class where we are going to continue to discuss about the properties of the context-free grammar. We know that there are three properties of the context-free grammar. One is ambiguity, the second one is left recursion, and the third one is left factoring. Out of these three properties, the first two properties are not desirable. And the third property, if the grammar allows, if the grammar is of that type, we are able to do the left factoring. That day we solved some 50% of the problems. Today we continue to solve the problems. After that, Bhavna ma'am will take the class. If you have any doubts or anything you want to ask, please put it in the chat box. Okay, now I'll continue with the class. That day itself, I have given a problem. I don't know how many of you try to solve it. Let us see that problem now. I have given expression grammar that day along with the exponent operator. I don't know how many of you solved it. Anyhow, we discussed the solution at the end. Now take down this question. Remove the ambiguity from the following grammar. So this is a grammar. R derives R star. Other rule is R dot R. The next rule is R union R. Actually, R stands for regular expression here. We know that union operator can be represented by slash, plus, or U symbol also. So here plus meant the union operator. Then finally, the R can be replaced by either A or B. So the same strategy, whatever we have applied for expression grammar, in the same way we need to solve this grammar also. We have to remove the ambiguity from here. So what are the two factors we have considered in the expression grammar? One thing is associativity of the operators, and the other one is the precedence of the operators. So here associativity, if you consider the dot operator as well as union operator, both are left associative. Star operator is unary operator. We don't need to bother about the associativity of that operator. Right. Next is precedence. When you consider the precedence, which is having the highest precedence here, clean closure. The star operator is having the highest precedence. Then comes the dot operator or the concatenation operator. And finally comes the union operator. Okay, now let me tell you how to solve it. Right. So the question is here. First, look into the first point. First thing, we are rearranging the rules from the lower order precedence of operators to the higher order precedence of operators. The reason you know already. We have discussed in the previous class. When we try to construct a parse tree for the given string, the lower precedence operation should be close to the root of the parse tree, whereas the higher precedence operator should be away from the root of the parse tree. So keeping this point in mind, here also we have arranged the rules as per the order of precedence. See, first I have written R plus R, then R dot R, then finally comes R star, then A, R, B. Okay, now we know the order of precedence. Now next thing what we have to ensure is the left associativity. Left associativity means you have to convert the rules into left recursive. How do you convert the rules into left recursive? The head of the production rule and in the body of the production rule, the very first symbol must be the same, right? See, actually the rule is R derives R plus R. In this case, both the R are recursive variables, right? In place of any R, you can replace any production rule. It means you are allowing the parse tree to grow in both the directions. No, now we should not do that. We should restrict the growth of the parse tree only to the left-hand side direction. So that is what we are doing in the first rule here. R derives R, left recursive, plus you give a new name to the other side of the variable. Instead of R, here I have given X. R derives R plus X. So that is the first rule. We made the first rule into left recursive, right? Next, R can be replaced by X. R is not directly supporting the concatenation operation. Please observe that. R is not directly supporting the concatenation. R must be replaced by X. So when you draw the parse tree, R appears at the root. X will be appearing it as a child node. Then from X, it can support the concatenation operation. That's how you are bringing the concatenation operation one level below in the parse tree. So X is replaced by, it is not R dot Y, it must be X dot Y. Again, the dot operation is also left recursive. X dot Y, and this X can be replaced by Y. Then this Y is nothing but Y star. Then finally, this Y can be A or B. With using the one single variable Y, I can define the rest of the rules because those rules are not creating any impact or in introducing the ambiguity in the grammar. So this is the solution for this problem. Now let us move on to the next question. Take down this question. Do left factoring in the following grammar. Without any mistake, note down the grammar. So left factoring is a desirable property. If the grammar gives room for that, we have to do the left factoring. So what is the advantage of left factoring? Left factoring is reducing the number of alternatives. So the parser does not need to confuse with more number of alternatives. That is why we are performing left factoring on the grammar. It reduces the number of alternatives for a variable. That is the advantage of performing left factoring. I think you have taken down the problem. Shall we move on to the solution now? Yes, let's move on to the solution. See the solution here in the next slide. See here, the given grammar is S derives B, SS, A, S. The other rule is B, SS, A, S, B. Then the third rule is B, S, B, R, A. So you know that to do left factoring in every production rule, you have to find the longest prefix, isn't it? So that is what we are going to do. I have to take into consideration the maximum number of rows and the possible longest prefix we are going to consider. So in all the rules, almost it is covering 3 rules. Out of the 4 rules, it is covering 3 rules. Out of the 3 rules, the longest prefix is BS. B is a terminal, S is a variable followed by it. So step 1 you see here. S derives, I have removed the longest prefix which is BS, and the rest of the portion we are introducing a new variable, let it be S dash, right? And the other rule A we have included as it is. I hope you have no doubt in understanding the first rule. Now we have to define what is this S dash. What is this S dash? It is all the remaining, the suffix of the rules, right? So in the first rule, S dash is nothing but S, A, S. In the second rule, S dash is nothing but S, A, S, B. In the third rule, it is nothing but B. So step 1 is over. Once again, carefully observe. The purpose of doing left factoring is to reduce the number of alternatives for a variable to the parser. When we manually solve, when we try to derive a string from the grammar, we don't have any problem because we can try out with different alternatives and we can do it manually. But when the same problem is given to a software, which is parser, so we have to design an efficient parser. So the parser should not get confused with more number of alternatives. So to reduce the number of alternatives, we are doing this. Okay. So now move on to the step 2. Step 2 is derived from step 1, right? So in the step 1, the first rule is retained as it is. There is no change in the first rule. But in the second rule, you observe, again, there is a longest common prefix among the rules. So what is that longest common prefix, which is nothing but SA. So that we are defining now, right? So S dash is SA, And for the rest of the suffix, I'm replacing it by a variable a. And this b we should not disturb, we have to consider as it is. Now you define what is a. A is nothing but as or sb. So please take down the solution for this problem. If you have understood, please reply in the chat box. And also try to understand the purpose of left factoring. Now, step 2 is the final answer for the given problem. Now, for the variable s, we have only two alternatives. For variable s dash, there are only two alternatives. For variable a also, there are two alternatives. Whereas in the beginning, the very first step, look into the grammar. For variable s itself, there were four alternatives, which was difficult for the parser to guess which rule is to be selected to derive a string. So take down the solution. Shall we move on to the similar problem? This is the next question. Please take down and try to solve it on your own. First attempt, when you are trying to find the longest prefix, try to cover majority of the rules. Try to cover majority of the rules. Then you can go for the step 2 if it is required. Yes, we discussed the answer for this problem now. It's up to you. You can give any name to the variable. Make sure that the right hand side part of the production rule is one and the same in the solution. All right. So at first glance, the longest, it's not really the longest, the common prefix which we are finding across all the rules is only a. So the first time in the step 1, the rules are modified like this. S derives a. For the rest of the suffix, we have introduced s dash. And the rule b is maintained as such. Next, you are defining what is s dash. S dash is nothing but the remaining suffix. SSBS, SASB, and BB. Again, in the step 2, there is a room for modification. You can modify the s dash rule. So in the step 2, retain the first rule as it is. Now consider the second rule. In the second rule, once again, s is the common prefix. So write s. For the remaining suffix, you write a. And you do and finish the problem like this. If you are getting the same solution, well and good. I hope you all got the same solution. Would you please reply in the chat box? Okay, I think most of you got. Maybe the few people first you would have guessed AS and you would have done it. Anyhow, in that way, I will try the answer and let you know whether it is correct or not in the next class. Please remind me to answer about that. So left factoring, now you people have an idea. Now let's move on to the last set of problems. Take down this question. Take one by one. And these are the questions you need to answer. Consider the following context-free grammar. Take down the first one and try to derive the string what is given in the question. You have to derive LMD as well as RMD for the given string, and also say whether the grammar is ambiguous or not. I hope everyone is solving the problem. Okay, good.